Hi guys, Dr. Luqman here with Excited Cats, and today we are diving into a topic that has been requested from us, which is raw meat-based diets and your cat. So what we're going to do is, talk about what a raw meat-based diet is. We're going to go through its potential benefits. We're going to talk about its potential risks, and then we'll discuss some precautions you should take if you are planning to put your cat on such a diet. So sit back, relax, get your coffee, get your tea, get your popcorn, get your plushies if you're me, and yeah, let's dive into it. So before we go into this topic, there are some disclaimers that you should take note of. First, before you try to switch your cat to a raw meat-based diet, please consult with your veterinarian and ideally a feline nutritionist as well. This is because just like us, our cats are individuals and you need to make sure if your cat is a viable candidate for a raw meat-based diet. Second, please bear in mind that if your cat is going to be an emotional support animal and not a pet, that legally they may not be allowed to be maintained on a raw meat-based diet or even receive raw meat-based treats. So please check all laws and regulations before doing this on an animal that is not a pet, but is instead going to be working or be functioning as an emotional support animal. Third, raw fish has many dangers for cats because many species of raw fish contain an enzyme known as thiaminase. Now, if cats eat raw fish, the thiaminase will actually bind with thiamine inside their bodies, and thiamine is a very important B vitamin. So over time, deficiencies in thiamine can have very serious health complications for cats. Again, this is why we recommend consulting with your veterinarian and a feline nutritionist when you do plan a diet for your cat that involves raw meats. And finally, please subscribe. Yeah, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like, leave questions. We love those. And yeah, let's dive into it. So a raw meat-based diet by definition is a diet that contains unprocessed and uncooked parts that are derived from animals. Now, these can be muscle, so you're talking about meat, but may also include other body parts of the animal, such as their organs or even their feathers, etc. It may even include animal byproducts, such as milk or eggs, again, all raw. So this is what people mean when they say a raw meat-based diet. Now, these kind of diets, when they're given to pets, are composed primarily of the raw meats, but they may have some additives on them. For example, omega oils, some greens, etc. But the overwhelming majority of the diet is, in fact, of raw meat origin. Now, there are generally two types of raw meat-based diets. The first is a commercial option. So these are companies that make raw meat-based diets and sell them for pet owners. And these companies realize that pet owners may not necessarily have the time or resources to, make a fresh homemade meal for their cat every single day. So they take the step of doing this for you. Now, many of these companies have great customization options with their meals. So you can enter, let's say, your cat's, age, breed, weight, etc. And you can also enter in any additional information provided by your feline nutritionist or vet. And then they can take all that information for you and formulate, meals specific for your cats, pack them and send them to you. And so all you have to do is provide your cats with the meals. So that's the first way a raw meat-based diet can work. And the second way is much more popular and it's much more trendy these days, which is making fresh homemade meals for your cats that involve raw meat. Now, these kind of diets are actually not regulated by any government authorities to say, because these are just recipes that are shared by, owners, pet enthusiasts, or, folks with the hobby of creating raw meat-based diets for animals. So with this kind of plan, what owners actually hope to do is provide a very high amount of variety for their cat. For example, today your cat may eat chicken, tomorrow they may eat lamb, the day after it might be beef, and then turkey and duck, etc. And the owners hope that by providing, an extreme amount of variety, they're making sure that their cat gets all the nutrition that they need. So the aim with this sort of diet is to increase variety, options, basically open your cat to a whole new culinary experience. Whereas the goal with commercial diets, again, is to be regulated by, authorities that make sure that there's a certain degree of nutrition in there, certain levels are meant, that are required legally for your pets, etc. Whereas this is more of like, owners experimenting and feeling that they're doing the best for their cats. So those are the two main types of raw meat-based diets out there. So now let's talk a bit about the potential benefits of raw meat-based diets. This trend is really surging in popularity right now. However, unfortunately, research for this trend is somewhat lagging. So all the benefits that we're going to talk about are potential benefits, which means that there's still pending definitive research to be proven or disproven. Now, the first one, which is actually a main reason why many owners opt for a raw meat-based diet, is because they feel it enhances the bonds that they have with their pet cats. Now, for many owners, it is very difficult, obviously, to diagnose ailments, diseases, etc. These are jobs that are done by a veterinarian. However, they feel that they can provide their cat with an excellent quality of life by taking care of their nutrition, because nutrition plays such a major role in their lives. So these owners feel that, commercial foods are not really that great for their cats because all they're doing is buying something and feeding it to their animal, which, yes, it's providing nutrition, but then there's no real emotional bond there. It's more like a job. Whereas, if they go out and they buy, meats, they buy different ingredients, they come home, they prepare them fresh, they arrange them nicely in a bowl, and they take pictures before they serve it to their cat, and their cat enjoys it and seems to be thriving. These owners feel a greater sense of purpose and a greater bond with their animals. So it actually helps enhance, that connection that we have with our pets. Because let's face it, pets are family. So this is probably the most understated benefit, but it's also probably the reason why more people are switching towards such a diet. In keeping with this trend, another potential benefit is that many owners see this diet as more natural. Because after all, cats are carnivores, they're descendants of African wildcats, and African wildcats eat raw meat, obviously. So they're just hunting different animals on a daily basis. For example, rodents, small lizards, perhaps a small bird, etc., and eating those. So owners feel it is more natural and appropriate to put their cat on a raw meat-based diet, rather than a commercial diet where they may not even be sure about what ingredients are in the diet, because there might be certain terms, formulas, etc. that are confusing to understand unless you Google them. So this perception of being natural can be looked at as a major benefit, because it again will enhance the bond that someone has with their pets. Third, there are many anecdotal benefits of a raw meat-based diet. Now, it goes without saying that these are anecdotal, which means that they're not proven yet. So if your cat does go on such a diet, there's actually no real guarantee at this point that you will see these benefits. You may see them, but you may not see them. So these are basically claims that owners have put up online that they say that happened after their pets were on a raw meat-based diets. These include things such as an improved coat, so their fur was really nice and shiny, control of bad breath, whiter teeth, especially for animals that were also given bones as part of their meals. They reported increased activity levels. They claimed that their pets have better immunities. And they also claimed that in cases of obesity, that it helped their pet lose weight when they shifted to a raw meat-based diet. We cannot definitively say that this will happen in your cat, but these are claims that are out there and are a big draw towards the raw meat-based trend, because many owners feel like, oh, I would love to have this for my cat, so let me try this diet. So this is another reason why you'll see many people gravitate towards such a diet. Now, when we talk about research, there has been some research done with raw meat-based diets, and the two factors that researchers looked at were digestibility of a raw meat-based diet and the immune system profile of animals that were on such a diet. And what researchers found was that when animals are on a raw meat-based diet versus when they're on a commercial diet that's cooked, their digestibility profiles are different. In other words, animals that are on such a diet may digest some ingredients better than those that are not on the diet, but conversely, those that are not on the diet digest other ingredients better than those that are on the raw meat-based diet. So it's like a yin-yang, it's like a balancing of scales. There's no clear winner there, but there is a difference. So when you see owners talk about, I feel like my cat has improved digestion after, a raw meat-based diet, you can kind of understand where they're coming from, because there are researches out there that point towards a difference. Therefore, you can say that the difference that they felt was not imaginary, but an actual improvement or a change at least. Now, again, with raw meat-based diets, they're usually slightly lower in fiber, which usually means that your cat may produce less stool. And many owners perceive this as a positive because they have to purchase less litter, they have to change the litter less often. So this can also be considered as sort of like a side benefit to the different digestive profile. Same thing with immunity in research. The immune system profiles of these animals change. So when the animal system is loaded with raw meats and animal proteins, they make a higher amount of certain white blood cells versus when they're not exposed to these. Again, there's no right or wrong here. There's no winner here because depending on the type of ailment an animal faces, the actual white blood cell type needed to fight the ailment will be different. So we cannot say that, if my animal's on a raw meat-based diet, they'll have better digestion. That's incorrect. However, we can say that yes, if my animal has been on a raw meat-based diet for some time, there's a chance that, their immune system profile is different now. That we can definitely say. So these are all potential benefits, as we said. We do hope that, as time progresses, we do more research and we can come up with more information to give you guys and hopefully prove or disprove, because, sitting on the fence is always somewhat uneasy for us, and help you guys make better decisions for your pets. Ultimately, that's what vets decide to do. We try to give you guys the best possible information. Now let's talk about some of the risks of a raw meat-based diet. Now, again, a tiny disclaimer here is that the risks are actually better studied in literature than the potential benefits. And this is because a lot of these risks spill over to humans as well. Therefore, they warrant research because of public health concerns. Now, the biggest risk, I would say, is unfortunately, many raw meat-based diets, especially the ones that are freshly prepared, are not nutritionally complete. So many researchers have researched recipes, formulas, etc. that people make for their animals when it involves a raw meat-based diet, and found that the overwhelming majority of them were not providing their animals with all the nutrition they needed that is set by relevant government bodies. So I personally feel like going forward, this is the biggest hump or hurdle that a raw meat-based diet needs to overcome. And if there's ever a point where raw meat-based diets reliably prove that they are providing pets with all the nutrition they need, then I feel this trend may skyrocket even further. Now, I did mention commercial raw meat-based diets in the beginning, and yes, these are companies that try to stay compliant with standards required for pet feed. However, previous research of some of these companies as well highlighted that they actually, in fact, do not provide all the nutrition. So this still remains somewhat of a gray area with regards to raw meat-based diets, unfortunately. Now, the second risk is one I'm sure you might be most familiar with, or it'll be the one that'll pop up in your face if you ever Google this, which is health safety concerns. Now, it goes without saying that raw meats are a source of contamination in many cases. They can harbor many bacteria. The one that's most popular online due to human health concerns would be salmonella, but then you may also come across articles or mentions of E. coli, Klebsiella, Campylobacter, Listeria. The list goes on and on and on. Like, this list is endless and is very well researched. So this is probably the most scary factor about a raw meat-based diet. But I do have to point out that there are many companies, many butchers, many factories now that voluntarily run many vigorous tests on their raw products to demonstrate safety levels. And some of them even pasteurize raw meats. They pasteurize milk as well. They pasteurize raw eggs as well. So you can lessen this risk to a great extent if you're careful and you're smart about how you source your ingredients. So, if you are on the fence about trying a raw meat-based diet, but this is holding you back, just be mindful that there are proactive steps you can take to minimize risks. And, on the subject of being fair, there is actually no diet that is completely risk-free, even for us, so even for our pets. And it is somewhat wrong to demonize a raw meat-based diet just for safety concerns. I mean, I do understand it's a big part, but there are steps we can take to minimize risks with everything. And the third possible risk is other risks that are associated with raw meats, but these are more feline specific. So now we're talking about certain parasites, pesticides, herbicides, other chemicals that may be found on meat at times. But again, there are companies, butchers, etc., that are trying to make sure that their products are free of all of these. So again, it all comes down to being proactive and smart in the way you source these diets. One more thing to mention is that this is not really a risk, but raw meat-based diets are generally way more time-consuming and somewhat more expensive than, commercial options. This is especially true if you're opting for fresh, raw meat-based diets where you will prepare the food. Just be mindful that it is a very big commitment. It takes a lot of time, and it's not something you can just start and stop when you feel lazy. It will require you to, put in daily effort for many, many months and years, basically your cat's entire life, if you do decide to go for this. So just be mindful of that. If you're on the fence, you have to be prepared for a very big commitment, and some people may not have the time. In fact, this lack of time is one of the main reasons why commercial diets are so appealing, because it just, saves all that effort and time, money, steps, and you can just buy a product and feed it to your cat. So if you've come this far and you're still somewhat on the fence about, trying a raw meat-based diet for your cat, but now you've decided, hey, I want to give this a go, I feel like it might be in my cat's best interest, then, here are some precautions I would advise. First, as I said before, please consult with your veterinarian first, and ideally also a feline nutritionist. They can tell you if your cat is viable for such a plan, and they can also help you formulate the meal for your cat and come up with a very nice, nutritious, meal plan that you can stick to for your cat. They can help you customize it, etc. They can help you with, safety options, safe meats, unsafe meats, etc. Please, it's best to follow the guidance of your vet and a professional nutritionist when it comes to these sort of major life decisions for your cat. Second, as we mentioned earlier, research in this area is lacking. So the best thing you can do if your cat is on such a diet, or you plan to transition your cat to such a diet, is make sure that you're on point with your regular veterinary checkups, because these will help your vet see if there's anything wrong with your cat or if your cat is healthy. So during these checkups, your vet will do, physical examinations, possibly x-rays, ultrasounds, blood tests, urine tests, fecal tests, and they use all this diagnostic information to let you know the health status of your pet. As more research is needed, again, I cannot stress this enough, please make sure that you follow through with these checkups. Third, again, as mentioned, when you're trying to spring towards a raw meat-based diet, it is best to go for butchers, manufacturers, and companies that perform a lot of vigorous tests on their products, even when not legally required, because they're trying to show you that their products are very safe and good for your cat. And, these are things you should look out for. If companies are proactive in displaying their safety levels, these are probably safer options than, sources where they're not doing these tests. So source your meats carefully whenever you go for such an option. And finally, please keep up with news, because many times when there's an outbreak of, let's say, salmonella or anything, it is a public health concern. So they will announce it on the news and possibly call for a recall. And if you're in an area where there's such an announcement, obviously you shouldn't feed those products to your cat. So yeah, guys, that was it. That was our quick look at raw meat-based diets for cats. We hope you learned something. We hope that, it helped you gain an understanding of what this is, what are the potential benefits, but at the same time, what the risks are, and whether or not you're ready for the commitment. Again, please comment, subscribe, leave a like, all that. We love questions. And thank you so much. We'll see you on the next topic. If you have a topic you'd like us to discuss, you can leave that down as well. And that's it. Signing out for now is Dr. Luqman on Excited Cats. Bye, guys.